Hi, stock investors. JJ here. Welcome back. Well, we've got a fund manager who's dumping Tesla today. He's going to explain why. He's been a supporter of Elon Musk and Tesla for a long time. He has been up and down on it, but he's going to explain why he is dumping it right now. Let's get straight into it.
Now is Gerber Kawasaki, President and CEO, Ross Gerber. Ross, good to see you. Loyal Twitter follower. Good to see you in the flesh. I know you're a very busy guy, managing billions of dollars of money and trying to keep all your fans at bay on social media.
Yeah, social media has been a little bit, challenging now that X has been sort of destroyed by Elon. It's sadly, it's become much more divisive and less effective. And I think for me, one of the...
He has got a lot of flack on there because Elon owns it, of course, and he's got a lot of supporters on there who are against Ross whenever he talks and criticizes Tesla.
Saddest things is it's harder to get good information now,
Yeah, and really, you are a real professional doing real business. What do you make? And we're going to talk about Elon. We're going to do all that stuff. I mean, that's one of the beauties of having a podcast. But what do you make of just the state of the investment industry? I mean, you have a pro such as yourself. You're putting out, I think, views that are backed up by solid fundamental research and knowledge of markets and investing. But there are a lot of folks out there on these social media platforms spewing guidance on Tesla, X, you name it, whatever, that it doesn't appear right.
There's a lot of people that are very biased towards Tesla on there, of course, and Elon helps to get their word out by reposting and so forth.
I think caveat emptor, if you're on social media looking for financial advice, you are taking a risk, all right? Because
sure,
like all medias, you kind of want to...
More than a risk. This is not financial advice. Don't take financial advice from anybody on social media. They're generally not financial advisors. You need to get your own advice there.
Understand the source and why the source is saying what they're saying. And there used to be a ton of great analysis on Twitter. But today, it's really, if you don't toe the line for Elon, you're just attacked and bullied. It's kind of like going to, that scene in Blues Brothers when the band goes into the country bar and they have the cage in front of them and everybody's throwing beer bottles at them and stuff. And that's kind of what Twitter's like if you're not a fan of Elon, and I think one of the things I say is imagine Tesla stock, just take the ticker off and just look at it like XYZ Corporation and just look at the numbers and look at the business and tell me what you think it's worth. And everybody comes up with a number that's about half what Tesla's trading at, and so to try to justify 100 price earnings ratio and to try to justify the constant promises that are either delayed or just never happen. I use the products. I have a Cybertruck. I have a Plaid. Full self-driving still doesn't work. I don't care how many videos they post about how close it is. It's just like either it works or it doesn't work, And after years of doing this, I've just kind of tired of it.
Okay, so that's some of his criticism of Tesla there. What he's talking about, the earnings ratio here, there. This is Tesla stock at the moment. We can see that margins have slipped. That's part of the problem. And the P ratio here, look at that. He just said 100. He was talking about the forward P ratio, currently about 94, P ratio of 61, and growth really slowing down in the business. Now, I did a video about this if you want to check this out, which wasn't particularly popular. Here's why Tesla stock plunged after earnings. I did that on the main channel. Do follow the main channel, The Art of Value. I'll put a link to that in the description if you want more like that. I'm going to do a video about Tesla one today, actually, after this, probably published around the same time. So go and see that if you want to as well, more in depth than this one. This interview will be I'll mention it in that video. And if you've come here from that video, hi there, this is the extensive video or interview with Ross Gerber here about Tesla's criticism of Tesla and of X and of Elon.
Where it's like, look, this full self-driving goal is extremely difficult and it's not going to get solved this year. And at some point, somebody's going to have to accept some reality on the difficulty of the task and the time it's going to take to really master this. And certainly the hardware and software that needs to still be built to make it safe. Mm-hmm. A simple example is that Tesla still don't recognize emergency vehicles. If you're in a fire truck or a police car, the Tesla doesn't know the sirens are on, it can't hear, it doesn't see the sirens doesn't see the sirens. So, if a police car's speeding by you, 70 miles per hour, the Tesla doesn't know any more than any other car. speeding.
There are a few videos out there of Tesla and full self-driving smashing into emergency vehicles and other vehicles out there.
Value. And these are the types of things that make driving so hard. Now, I don't blame Elon or Tesla. I just think the task is much harder than they realize, you know?
I think I respect a lot more the good old Ford Crown Victoria police cars. After that discussion, I mean, I respect the lights, Ross. I'm totally digging. I made fun of them for many years, but I guess they make a lot of sense to me. Are you still a Tesla shareholder?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're still shareholders in Tesla, and Tesla going back 5 years was a large investment we made a huge return on between 2018-19 into 2021, right? And we started taking profits, even back in the old days. But, in the last, I think it was about a year ago when things started going real south with Elon and politics and sales were being affected, and we saw clients and customers not wanting to buy Teslas anymore and wanting to sell their stock. We lowered our position, substantially, but we still own, I think I just filed my 13F, something like 266,000 shares of Tesla worth about $50 million. And there's various reasons why we still own it. Some of it is just taxes because, it's like I got to pay taxes on everything I sell. And then part of it is, I still believe very much that they make the best EVs in the world and they have this wonderful brand despite its tarnishment. And I think they are leaders in autonomy, and it's solvable. It just might take longer. But what I think is now that Elon isn't focused on building Tesla. And so that's another existential problem. So over time, I've just been sort of lowering my position because I just don't have the same confidence that they're going to achieve the goals that were set out for Tesla several years ago and even
Okay, so he's talking about Elon's focus more on politics, of course. Trump, I think he goes on to talk about that. But let's look at the Tesla share price, what he's talking about here. He was in Tesla early on. He said, 2019, 2018. So there was a massive run up and he would have got a really good gain there, over 800%, right up to the peak there, of course, which arguably was in a bubble territory, 1,500%. But since then, if we go back, if we just look back 5 years, it's really gone nowhere in the last 3 years. Really, it's negative in the last 3 years or so, a net flat after some gyrations up and down. I did own Tesla stock here for a while, actually managed to get it in late 2022 and got 100% and then got out. The margins were falling as he talks about here. And and Elon does seem to be distracted here. This is not financial advice. It's just what my opinion on what I've seen, my observations here. And we can see that some of their other fund managers as well as Ross are cutting their positions. This one, Morgan Stanley, is cutting its position in the Tesla stock. In Tesla stock, here's why. Now, I'm going to go into this in the other video I mentioned on the other channel on the Art of Value. I'm going to go into more in depth. Not today. We're going to focus on Ross's interview, but also just going back a month, Morgan Stanley names Tesla top pick. So they've changed their mind on it, and they are one of the big. They loaned Elon money for X, so it's all kind of interlinked here in terms of Tesla and Elon and X, but I will go into that more in that other video today. But let's see what Ross else he's got to say. He's been selling down, still says he's got about $50 million worth of Tesla stock, still believes in it. He just has criticism of Elon and Tesla. Is it founded? Is it well founded? Let me know in the comments what you think about what Ross is saying here. I know people who are all in on Tesla are still pretty keen on Elon and Tesla, even with a lot of the stuff going on.
Recently, which is really to sell more cars. So we can scrape all this robotic crap out of this conversation, like robo cars, robots, that's just a distraction from the fact that they need to sell cars this year and next year and the year after, because none of this is coming anytime soon. And so if we don't sell cars, how does the stock go up? And
that is a good point, because it's going to take a while. Even with these other things, people are pointing to the future, these future things, but how long is it going to take to actually make revenue from those? I go into that in that other video on the other channel as well, on the earnings. When I went through the earnings, they've really got to come up with this. It's still about the cars, because zero revenue has been made on these other things, robots, robotaxi, cybercab. We'll have to wait till October to find out about that, but it's still not going to be quick. It's not going to be instant.
And so right now it's just on hope,
Hopium.
There's a couple. I'll follow your lead a little bit here, Ross. I had recently talked to let's say, a very passionate retail Tesla investor, noting
Okay.
that they see the stock going to $10,000. To me, I'm a trained stock analyst. I did it for over 10 years. I played in Excel docs. I mean, I look at things a lot different. But I respect.
$10,000. Okay, yep. That's this. This was this video here. I did a video about that on this very channel. I'll put a link to that. Tesla stock analyst says Tesla going to 10K. So there was an interview that he did with her about that. And she is her Twitter bio says she's a fangirl, literally says she's a fangirl of Elon. When she says a retail investor, it does seem that she does have some sort of financial service and able to give financial advice, I think. Says that on her Twitter bio. So, but $10,000 seems a stretch. The cult following behind Elon seems strong when people say things like that. But will it be true? It's just all based on the future, not on actual reality at the moment. Anyway, as far as I can see, not this. You can make up your own mind on that. But the actual numbers, Tesla has actually dropped its profits about 45% for the meantime.
Respect what she was trying to get across, but her argument was the market doesn't appreciate what Tesla's going to do in AI and then humanoid robots. I mean, but to your point, do you think those arguments are essentially crap?
What I think is that nobody knows the future. What I think, and that I'm sure of, is nobody knows what's 5 years from now. What I think that I'm 100% sure of is that people who have a complete bias towards Elon and Tesla are the worst person to ask about the future, right? Because they're so biased by what has already been told to them. Okay. Now, the simplest way to do it is go around to your neighbors and ask them, how many of you would buy a humanoid robot built by Elon Musk? And the answer is 0. Okay. Nobody wants a robot from Elon Musk. Why? Who would trust it? Okay. My wife said, like, how would I trust this robot in my house? It's going to follow us around. It's going to listen to us. It's going to know it. How do I know it's not going to kill me? And I said something like, well, how do you know?
My order, Ross. I'm canceling my order.
I said, how do you know Marta's not going to kill you, our housekeeper, And she's like, well, I'm bigger than Marta. And I'm like, well, she's kind of big, like, I don't know. She could probably take you out. My wife's like, no, I can take Marta. And I go, well, maybe they'll have a big like off button on the robot's forehead. So if it starts like trying to attack you, you just push off. Because that's kind of what Elon said. He's like, if the robot goes crazy, it'll just have a big off button. So my fundamental premise is that I love Star Wars and C-3PO would be a wonderful helper in my house, but I have wonderful help already. I love Marta. She's a wonderful person. I have no plans of getting rid of her for a robot anytime soon. And I don't even trust HomePods in my house or the speakers because they're already listening to us. The last thing I need is some robot built by Elon Musk in my house. So I don't know if they thought about the marketing of this at all yet. Okay. So secondly,
so he's talking about future robots there, that the people who are all Elon fans, all in on Elon and on Tesla, have no question that this is going to happen. I've done a video about that on the other channel about the robots. I see 2027 at the very earliest for this kind of thing to even have any kind of impact to it. And there are different companies doing it. If you go and see that video if you want to, about the future there, but there are definitely other companies doing it, not just Tesla. And as he said there, do people actually want it? It remains to be seen. So putting a whole lot of value into Tesla based on this, on the future. And as Warren Buffett said, we can think about the next quarter and maybe the next year in earnings, but it's very hard to forecast, very hard to predict. So we're basically going on Elon here. There have been entrepreneurs in the past that we could have done that with in hindsight, Jeff Bezos and also Steve Jobs, but there was definitely a roller coaster ride there. So there are definitely people with a lot of faith in Elon. So we're going to see what else Ross has got to say. This video is going longer. If you want to stay with me, that's great. Please remember to hit that like button to help the algorithm to spread it to more people. And before we go on, I want to tell you about ShareSite while we're at it. I have a special offer for my viewers here, and just go to this landing page. I'll leave a link in the description to this. ShareSite is a portfolio tracking and reporting tool. Keeps you able to see your true performance of your portfolio, brings in trades automatically. You can do it manually for historically. Go to this video here on the page to see all about that and get this special offer. You can also join for free. This is free. That gives you some pretty good features just for free, but the special offer here is worth it, I think, for premium. So go and see that, and I'll put a link in the description. As I said, okay, let's get back to Ross. What else he's got to say? This one is a bit longer than usual on the channel, but we do want to hear what he's got to say, and I'll react to it.
I view humans, we love not to change. Okay, humans love not changing. We love the past. Actually, there's nothing brings me more happiness than watching movies from the 80s. You know, and like I tell my kids all the time how lucky.
Ross, you never had me over. I mean, sign me up for some.
I was watching Brat Pack movies, Weird Science the other day. You know, talk about technology. Why don't you invent that? You know,
I think Elon's a fan of 80s sci-fi too. The Cybertruck and things that he talks about are definitely kind of 80s sci-fi kind of stuff that he thinks about and talks about. Going to Mars, all that stuff was around in the 80s.
If you're going to invent anything, invent Kelly LeBrock. That would be genius, right? And I would buy that.
We'll
right?
take that offline. We're gonna.
My wife would be like, "You bought Kelly LeBrock robot?" You know, and I'll be like, "Yeah, I did. Sorry, she has great skills, you know, and she cleans." And so, you know, I think growing up without technology was one of the greatest gifts of being a Gen Xer. Like growing up where we didn't have iPads and phones and all this stuff that my kids have. I think it was a gift. So the idea that technology is just going to rapidly be implemented by humans is a false reality. In fact, only the best technologies are rapidly, you know, used by humans. And probably the best example recently is ChatGPT, which I use every day. And this technology is phenomenal, but it's an assistant. I don't need it to be a robot. It's super helpful for everything I'm doing now, whether it be research or writing or putting out stuff for my website yesterday, whatever. You know, this is like an AI inflection point. But it's really not about, per se, robotics, which already exists in Amazon factories and such. It's really about intelligence and like, how can we build technology that can really make humans more efficient and productive? But it doesn't necessarily change the way we do things. And that's the way I think it is. So when you see somebody like Donald Trump is incredibly popular in our society, one thing I can guarantee you is that we have not advanced very far.
Ross, hang with us. We're going to go for a quick break, but you're on fire, my friend. We want to come back to you, so just hold on.
Okay, I think they're going to talk about NVIDIA next. I'm going to put a link to this in the description here. If you want to see the rest of this, we'll leave Ross there because I think he's said as much as he's going to say about Elon. Well, he gets into politics, actually. I think I just quickly scrubbed through the video and Trump. So I'll get into that in the other video too. On the other channel, we'll talk about Elon versus Tesla and get into what's going on and different articles and different subjects rather than just Ross talking about it here. So I'll put a link, as I said, to this description in the description, and I'll publish them both at the same time probably. So go and see that if you want to. And thanks to everybody for joining me. Thanks for your company today. I'm going to put a link on screen to what YouTube thinks that you should watch next. Actually, perhaps I'll put that link to the other video on the other channel on the screen, so if you can go and see that if you want to. And thanks for everybody for watching or listening, and I'll see you in the next one.